everyone, it's Jess from Meyer Hatchery and welcome to another episode of Meyer Makes. Today we are going to be making these fun chicken pot holders. To get started, you're going to want to print out 2 copies of the template, and I've left the link to the template in the description below. I use one for tracing the pieces on my fabric and one for reference. You're going to need some good quality cotton fabric. I'm using some quilting fabric here. And you're going to need 2 colors, one for the body, one for the wings. You're also going to need a piece for the beak of your chicken as well. This is a really great project because you can use scraps that you have around. You need about 3 fat quarters worth of fabric. You're also going to need some sort of batting to put into your pot holder. I'm using some fusible fleece on the wings, and on the body part, I'm using a special batting called insul-brite, which is formulated to really protect your hands when you're using your pot holder. You can use whatever you like. Just think about how you're going to be using your pot holder. You're also going to need something for the comb. You can use some ribbon, or I'm using some scrap pieces of fabric that I had. You're going to need something for marking with. I find these marking pens work fantastic. You're going to need some good quality scissors to cut your fabric, and it's time to start working with our template. On our template here, where the comb is, it's just kind of a marking place for you. And there's also a dotted line that you can add, kind of a quilted line onto your pot holder, totally optional. So you want to go ahead and cut out your chicken body, and you want to cut 2 pieces. So when you're cutting your fabric, you could do right sides together or wrong sides together. Just make sure you keep those 2 pieces together. You're also going to want to cut 1 piece of batting that matches the chicken's body. So this is where I'm using that insul-brite batting. A tip that I have is I like to go ahead and use a little bit of basting spray to hold my fabric in place on my batting while we're putting everything together. It just makes it really easy. You could use pins too. Next, it's time to cut out the wings, and you want to make sure that you keep those pieces really marked separate because you want those wing pieces going in the right direction. So here are my 2 wing pieces. You're also going to cut out some batting to put on the inside. I use basting spray on the top piece, and I purposely left the fusible part facing out on the wing, and you'll see when I put everything together why I do that. You can cut your template as you go, which is kind of how I made this template and I really like it. So now you're just going to mark a line with your pen, and this is just a quilting line to kind of create a neck or a head on your chicken. I also put some eyes and beak markings on here. You can kind of adjust those however you want, but I found it was really easy. I used a little bit of my basting spray to hold my beak in place for when I stitch it, and I'm going to just zigzag stitch all around that beak. You can see here when I put my template over, it helps me just to line everything up. When we're sewing our wings, we're going to put them so they are the wrong sides together, and there's our piece of batting there. And we're going to stitch that shorter edge, not the part where it's rounded, but that shorter edge there. All right, so here's what my beak looks like after I've appliqued or zigzag stitched all around to hold that into place. This is also where we're going to take a look at our wings here. Now that they've been stitched, we're going to turn them so they are right sides facing out. And you want to make sure to clip those edges if you have to, if you're having a hard time getting that curve. And you really want to push that edge so it's nice and crisp on the edge there. Now, the reason I left that fusible edge facing out is when we iron it, it's going to hold that wing down together. So all the pieces are all going to be sandwiched together, and it's just going to make it a lot easier when it comes time to sew it onto our chicken's body. Again, we're just kind of holding that as flat as possible. We'll use our iron and really give that a good press, and we have a nice, good, sturdy wing that's going to be easy to sew on to our chicken's body. After your wings are all sewn, you're going to place them on top of your chicken's body. And here you can use some pins to help you hold everything in the place, but you're going to go ahead and you're going to stitch the very edge of both of the wings I'm using a basting stitch, and I'm just going to stitch right along the edge on that side and on this side as well. This is just going to hold everything into place. Now that the wings are basted on, we need to go ahead and add our comb pieces. So I've cut 3 pieces. One piece is about 3 inches long and the other piece is about 2 inches. So I have 2 of those that are about 2 inches. And I'm going to kind of fold them so they're kind of bent out like this. You can see it kind of makes a loop when I hold it up. The center loop kind of works as a hanger for your pot holder. And then those other 2 sides are just kind of decorative pieces. I'm going to take that over to the sewing machine and I'm going to tack those into place pretty close to the edge. And here's what that looks like. Everything's all tacked into place. You can see when we turn it right sides out, when we're all done, how that's going to stand up and look super cute on there. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and sew everything together. So you're going to take that back piece of fabric and you're going to turn it so right sides are facing together. And you're going to stitch all the way around your chicken pot holder, leaving about a 2-inch opening at the bottom. This is going to be where we're going to turn our project when we're all done. And I'm stitching all around about a 1/4 inch or so seam allowance all the way around. Here's what our chicken looks like all sewn. I went ahead and turned everything right sides out. There you can see our comb is standing up and our wings are all in the right place. Oh my goodness, this is so cute. I'm going to iron this and then take it back to the sewing machine and do one more kind of finishing stitch all the way around a 1/4 inch from the edge. And I'm also going to stitch that neckline or headline on our pot holder. Here's what everything looks like all stitched. I am obsessed with these chicken pot holders. Now the last step is you're going to add some eyes. So you could grab your jar of buttons and pick out 2 eyes. If you're going to be using this as a kind of like a hot pad, you can also just sew on some fabric eyes as well. And here's what our chicken looks like all completed. I absolutely love this project. It makes such a great gift and it's the perfect beginner sewing project. If you have any questions, be sure to let us know in the comments below. Make sure to download the template in the description. Thank you so much for watching.